Okay, so are you ready to rethink how you thought about piano playing? Because today we are diving deep into a technique that's going to blow your mind. Intonation for pianists.
And you might be thinking, wait, isn't intonation something singers worry about? And you'd be right. It's usually for vocalists or maybe string players. But this deep dive is going to turn that on its head.
I'm intrigued already. So we're talking about bringing this concept of intonation to the piano, that fine tuning of pitch that makes music come alive. But the piano already has the keys laid out, each with a specific pitch. What more is there to tune?
That's where it gets really interesting. See, even though the piano gives you all the notes, truly masterful playing is about going beyond those fixed pitches and developing like a hyper-awareness of the subtle spaces between the notes.
Okay, so it's about developing almost a sixth sense for pitch, even when you're playing an instrument with predefined keys. I'm starting to see where this is going, but how does one actually tune their playing on the piano?
It's all about cultivating what we call inner singing. Imagine mentally singing each note, each interval, with the utmost attention to pitch accuracy, even as your fingers dance across the keys.
Inner singing. I love that. It's like you're training your mind to become a high-precision tuning fork for every single sound you create on the piano.
Exactly. But Lehman describes this process of almost singing internally while you play with a specific resistance in your throat,
Interesting.
almost like you're giving the piano its own voice.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. So it's not about actually singing aloud while playing. It's more about engaging those vocal muscles internally. How does that impact what's happening on the keyboard?
That's the cool part. Lehman draws this fascinating parallel between that feeling of resistance in your vocal cords and the subtle control you can achieve in your finger muscles.
Oh, wow.
It's about tapping into a different kind of muscle memory, one that most traditional piano pedagogy just completely misses.
Wow, I can almost feel the tension in my throat just imagining that. But it makes you think about the interconnectedness of our bodies in a whole new way.
And this gentle resistance does something magical. It activates those tiny muscles in your hands that control the nuances of each note. You know how string players get that beautiful vibrato effect by subtly rocking their fingers? The source material actually suggests that this resistance technique can create a similar vibrato quality on the piano. The resistance is really just a training tool. It's like using training wheels when you're first learning to ride a bike. At first, you need that extra support to find your balance, but eventually you're able to ride smoothly on your own.
So you're saying that the resistance eventually fades away as the inner singing and pitch awareness become more ingrained.
Exactly. It's not that you're doing it wrong if you don't feel the resistance constantly. It's more like it evolves into a subtle, almost ghost-like sensation guiding your playing.
Interesting. So it's less about physically holding yourself back and more about having that heightened awareness of pitch and control embedded in your muscle memory.
Precisely. And that's where the real magic happens. Because when you've developed this deep, internalized sense of intonation, it doesn't just disappear, it ripples outward, influencing every other aspect of your playing.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the bigger picture here. We've talked about stiffness, performance anxiety, even this vibrato effect, all stemming from this one concept of intonation. It's like this hidden superpower that unlocks a whole new level of piano playing.
And you know what? We're just scratching the surface. This ripple effect you're talking about extends even further. Think about arm weight, for example.
Arm weight. So we're talking about that feeling of effortless power you get when you're really in the flow, using your whole body to create the music. Not just flailing around like a crazy person, but that controlled power.
Yes. And you know what's amazing? Developing this keen sense of intonation can actually make it easier to harness your arm weight effectively. Because when you're truly hearing the music internally, feeling those subtle variations in pitch, it naturally informs how you use your body to create those sounds.
It's like your entire body becomes a finely tuned instrument responding to those micro adjustments in pitch with just the right amount of weight and pressure on the keys.
Exactly. It's about moving from the keyboard being this separate thing to being almost an extension of your own body.